All right, so we got our gentleman janitor all placed here. We have the coupler on the auger and the pipe is in the bin. That's what it looks like inside the dog house there. There's a whole bunch of coal in there for it to eat. And we decided we're going to go with the 14-inch ash ring that came on this new old stock gentleman janitor Stoker rather than the kind of funky ash ring that came with the boiler. I think they were trying to minimize any clinker sticking between the boiler wall and the Stoker. Since the boiler's so small, so I did some measuring. The boiler walls come out to about the edge of this shelf, maybe an 1/8 inch more. And really, you want to have like at least like 3 inches between the edge of the ash ring and the boiler wall. And they're like 3 1/4 and 3 1/8, and that's like 3 3/4, and this is like 3 1/2. So I'm thinking that's plenty, so we're gonna leave it like that and run it. Here you go. This is the first coal that has ever come into this new old stock gentleman janitor Stoker. It's never had coal in it before. We've got some coal up into the pot right now, and I just want to finish up a couple things while we're getting ready to do the feed rate test. I put these ash ring bolts on, just, temporary, not thinking. And what I do with these is these stick down, so the bolt sticks down below the ash ring here some, so the nut goes on there, and then you end up with some thread sticking out the bottom. And anytime you have thread sticking out into the ash pit area, it's very vulnerable to corrosion. So the last thing you want to happen is have these things in there, have that little bit sticking out the bottom, and have this all rusted to death so you can't get this nut off. Theoretically, you're supposed to take the ash ring off and all the burn rings out once a year to clean them. That's how you keep one of these. I mean, the Van Wert is the same way. EFM, you have to, you don't have to take the grates out, but you have to poke all the holes since they have holes in them. You got to get in there and poke the holes out because they get, bits of fused coal and stuff stuck in them. So I think that we've decided we're going to go with this ash ring, not the original one that came with the boiler. So we're just going to butter these things up with some anti-seize and stick the nuts back on. That's all of them. This isn't the high temp anti-seize, but I mean, it really should make a difference because what we're talking about isn't hot. If it was above the ash ring, then it would be hot. But below the ash ring, things tend to be a little cooler. Butter each one of them up real good. Stick them back in and stick the nuts on. You can also notice that we there's an 1/8 inch just regular wood stove round rope gasket below the ash ring to seal it up. And there, next year, after running this for a while, at the end of the heating season, when we shut it down, we should be able to get these nuts off without any trouble. One other important public service announcement about ash ring bolts in general. Oops. This will go fishing for that nut. Or we'll just grab another one out of the bag. Since we have a spare. All right. And that is, you never tighten these down really tight. I mean, a little bit beyond finger tight is about all they need. Because if you really, King Kong these things down, they could become a bit of a bugger to get out. And like I said before, you need to be able to get them out at least once a year. So that's about as tight as I want to see them. I'm most likely the guy that's going to be taking them out. And when the boiler's on, it's easy right now, real easy. So when you put the boiler on top of it, and you just have that little door to reach through, it's going to be a lot more difficult. So that's something to consider when you're putting one of these things together. Another important thing to consider is Stokers like the Van Wert and the Gentleman Janitor have a plate on the bottom that leads to the bottom of the air chamber. So at least once a season, you're supposed to take this plate off and let the blower run to blow all the fines and any fly ash that has accumulated. So what we're going to do with these is we'll run them on the wire wheel, clean them up, and butter them up with some anti-seize, because that is another thing you never want to get seized in there, because you can't clean out the air chamber then. So, and these are, even though this is a new old stock Stoker, there's a little bit of rust on them, so we'll get that done. Oh, yeah, there you go. And these are something else that you don't want to be really tight. I mean, these have to be tight enough that they seal the air chamber off from the firebox pretty well, but you don't want to be torquing them down or anything, because that'll also increase the chances of them breaking off when you try to get them out. Another important thing to get a good dose of anti-seize on is these knuckle set screws. They can get seized up pretty good because they're constantly exposed to the fines in the coal. So these I already wire wheeled up and had them in there temporarily, but you want to make sure they get good and anti-seized up. They're going to be another thing that will get stuck on you and cause you a load of problems if you got to take your auger apart. And at some point, you're going to have to take your auger apart. My plan for this, since this is all nice and freshened up or new old stock, would be to actually pull the auger out at the end of the season. Make sure everything's good to go. Because although these things are real high quality and built to last a long time, it's not easy or cheap to get replacement parts. So you want to be sure you take care of the ones you got. All right, now that we got the pot filled up and a few other things together, we're about ready to do the feed rate test. So there's an ash pan down in there, and the ash pan plus this chain that I put on it to weigh it weighs 7.5 pounds. So what we're going to do is let this completely fill up, let the coal spill all over the sides because it'll pile up on the ash diverter. And once that's all full of coal and everything, and coal just falls out of the pot into the pan, then we'll start the timer and run it for an hour, then pull the ash pan out, see how much coal's in it. I think what we're going to do first, my other gentlemen janitors, this gap between the plate and the ash diverter is a little bit of a problem because ash will fall down in there and eventually get pushed to the back as you pull the ash pan out and put it back in. And for the feed rate test, I don't really want that causing a problem. So I think I'm just going to take some rope gasket and use some silicone to attach it there on either side to keep that from happening. All right, let's go. All right, so we got our gasket glued in there with some silicone. Made a bit of a mess on this side. It's kind of hard to get the tube down in there, but who cares? It's on the inside of the base. Once you stick the boiler on there, you're not going to see that ever again. And first feed rate test, we're going to go with the way this was set up from the factory. So both of these split pulleys are tightened all the way, so they're both the biggest they can be. If we need to lower the feed rate, we can wind this one out to slow down this pulley. All right. Next, we're just going to let it run and let everything fill up with coal in here, and then pull the ash pan out, empty it, and stick it back in, set the timer and let it run. All right, after 1 hour running, that is 19.5 pounds minus 7.5 for the ash pan and the chain. And that makes some, if my math is correct, 12 pounds, which is a bit less than I expected it to be pushing, but closer to what we want. So I think what we'll do is wind this out one and do another feed rate test. From what I've been told and what I've read, one spin on one of these split pulleys on a gentleman janitor should change it about 1 pound per hour. So theoretically, if everything was perfect and our measurement method was perfect and this is all correct, if I wind this out one, we should go from 12 to 11 pounds. So let's find out. All right, we've done 4 hours of feed testing. And we tried both split pulleys closed, motor split pulley open 1 turn, then open 3 turns. So open 1 turn was 11 pounds per hour. Open 3 turns was 9.5 pounds per hour. And fully closed up was 11.5 pounds per hour. So at 9.5, we're pretty much where we need to be. Just in case you don't know what a split pulley is, this is a split pulley. So basically it has a flat on here and usually on the other side too. So you can unwind this several turns or turn it in all the way. And as you turn it in all the way, the V gets narrower and your belt rides out wider, effectively like a bigger pulley or a smaller pulley going the other way. So that's it. If we want to go any lower, I think we're probably going to have to go to a bigger pulley down here, which will require more feed rate tests. But that's a story for another day. Time to clean this up and wrap it up.